It's a little video about my audio system I've been putting together over the past 2 years. Honestly, more like 4. I got bit by the bug early in 2021, and then I just decided to just kept building. And as you know, once you get some of it, you can't get enough of it. But I think I'm finally to the point where my system is at a point where I can say it is done. Makes my hair stand up every single time I get in here in a good way. It gives you goosebumps. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an anatomy of it and tell you what's going on in it. So I'll start going from front to back here, as it's probably the easiest way to do it. For the head unit, I decided to go with a Sony MEX1 HD. It is Sony's top of the line radio from the early 2000s. The sound quality this thing produces is unbelievable. I'm surprised a lot of more people don't use this thing. But I love it. It is my favorite radio, and I have a personal connection with it. My dad originally ran this radio too. I just managed to find some by going various places and picked one up and put it in here because my dad was able to speak to it. And then a lot of this inspiration is actually from my dad. This was his truck before mine. He handed it down to me, and then I decided I was going to make it better than he ever did. So that's the inspiration behind it. So then for the front stage, I decided to run, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's various components put together, mainly an old school focus to this build. For the fronts, I decided to go, at least for the tweeters, I decided to go for a pair of ADS 335 PX. I am not using the mid basses in this build, which if you know what the PX are, people are probably going to call me a little bit crazy. Which PXs are incredible. I used to have them in here, but I just think the stuff I have in here is better. The tweeters out of the PX are probably one of their strongest assets, at least in my opinion, after I've had them upgraded. All of them were refurbished. All of my ADS were refurbished by Richard So at RSE. Every single bit of it, they are factory default, and the tweeters have been upgraded. They have a $400 magnet upgrade on them. They can take a lot more power, and they sound even better than they look, honestly. But they are unbelievable. I love them. And then the heart and soul of everything here is my mid bass I'm using. I'm running a pair of ADS 325 IS. If you know old school audio, you probably know about these. ADS, these 325s came out as a predecessor to the 320 IS. The mid basses are pretty much identical between the two sets, but the tweeters are a little different. I just decided to go for a PX because it can take more power instead of the normal 325 tweeters. But the 325s are the heart and soul of everything. They are what makes this what it is, and they're, in my opinion, they're one of the best sounding speakers ever made, at least mid bass wise. There's nothing I've heard that can compete with them. And then for the doors, I decided to go a little more modern. I got a pair of Alpine R265 C2s. Just a pair of the mid basses, 6.5s in the doors. I took the tweeters out of the little factory location and moved them into the kicks. It moves the stage forward. Sounds a lot better and more blended that way. So yeah, that's pretty much the front stage up here. I'm gonna work our way to the rear here. So for the subs, I decided to go old school as well. I have a pair of ADS RS10s. If you know ADS and you know old school stuff, you probably know about these as well. They are ridiculous. They are the only subs I've heard that can play under 18 hertz and have a cubic foot. They do it easily. Sometimes when I'm listening to certain songs, if I just stuff starts shaking and can't hear anything, that's 18 hertz, and these things do it pretty easy and under half a cubic foot, which is crazy. Gotta love it being 4th of July, by the way, too. So other than that, those 10, they are unbelievably good. In terms of everything else. So anyway, back to what I was saying. I had to pause it for a second to get rid of the firework audio because it's 4th of July. So happy 4th of July, everyone, if you are watching this. So for the amplifiers and all that stuff, I decided to go more old school as well. And honestly, a little personal stuff with it too, for my dad. For the amplifiers on the front stage, I decided to go with a Steg Q line, QM 75.4. They are probably, this is the best bang for the buck amplifier I have found, period. It sounds the best for its price point. It sounds like borderline like a Moscone for $250. So they are, this is probably one of my favorite amps I've ever found, and it's one of the best sounding amps I've found. And I've heard Moscone, Zapco. I love this thing. It's never going anywhere. And then for the other heart and soul of it, for the DSP, I'm running a older Arc Audio PS8, the original model that came out in the early 2010s. It's pretty straightforward. It's got 8-volt pre-outs, outputs, all that stuff. So it's super helpful. I don't have to run my amps very hard. I can just turn the gain down on them and tune everything easier. It's a lot easier on the amplifiers to do that. And then I forgot to mention the Steg is powering the front stage, so the 325s, and then also the PX tweeters. So my kick panels is all this thing right here. And then for the next thing, I've got this is old school stuff now. For this right here, I have a Alpine MRV T420. This Alpine's powering the R2 mid basses in the doors. It's a 2-channel. It puts out about 150 by 2, if I recall, or so, at 14 volts. So it gives those Alpines more than enough power. I just run this thing at a lower gain and then turn it down a little bit at the DSP, and those Alpines just pound away easily. So yeah, I love this thing too. It originally ran my front stage when my dad had it. He had a pair of ADS 325s in the front, and he just ran this thing off of them, and it sounded incredibly good too. But I will say mine's better, a little biased there. And then the heart and soul, this is the one that means the most to me. I have a old school early 90s Alpine MRV 1000. It's powering both of my RS10s, my 10-inch subs in the back. This one's a little more special to me. This was my dad's. He handed it down to me. It's been running my 10s since when he had the truck. So almost 30. He had a 95 Chevy before he got this one, and he had this MRV 1000 in it, and he powered it. And then he just moved it over to this one, and for the last north of 30 years, this amp has been running these same 10s, and it speaks to Alpine's reliability. If you can definitely find an MRV 1000 in working condition, just get it recapped and it'll last another 30 years. This one hasn't even been recapped yet, and it's still doing awesome. There's no signs of cap leaks or anything. It's doing amazing. But yeah, and then a little more into detail stuff. For the whole system, I decided to run Stinger 8000 series, except for the mid basses. I ran out of Stingers. I had a bit of a crisis here, so I'm temporarily running a set of X2s for the mid bass up front. But other than that, it sounds awesome. So yeah, that pretty much summarizes my video, and I'll probably follow up pretty soon with a demo video. Happy 4th of July, and God bless America.